There's an actor, Anthony Quinn, my friends, and my birth name is actually Quinn Anthony. But there's an actor named Anthony Quinn, right? That's who I'm named after. Well, my dad's middle name is Anthony, and they're gonna name me Quinn, and my dad loves Quinn Anthony, or Anthony Quinn, my friends. So he had a whole ordeal when he was getting into the entertainment industry, that he was considered too white to play Spanish roles and too Spanish to play white roles. Like, that was his dilemma, my friends. And me, I am a rapper, and I'm not black per se, but I'm also not white per se, my friend. So I feel like the same thing that was limiting Anthony Quinn is actually going to propel me into the industry nowadays. It's just a kind of ironic thing how the industries can change, the entertainment industry can change, my friends, because I'm thinking that it might work for me where it didn't work for him, my friends. It might or it is working. I don't know, my friends. I don't know. But I asked ChatGPT, right? So I was like, so Anthony Quinn, right? Mexican-American actor, had some resistance in his career due to the fact that he wasn't fully white, and also the fact that he wasn't fully Mexican. So he didn't fit in either of those roles perfectly, is what I've gathered anyways. But it's super significant because my name is obviously Quinn Anthony. I feel like it's going to ultimately do the opposite of what it did for Anthony Quinn, and going to be what propels me forward in the music scene and entertainment industry alike. And I asked him what its thoughts was on that, and he said, "There's a real possibility that what once functioned as a barrier in the entertainment industry now functions as market expansion. Different era, different optics, different audience psychology." Anthony Quinn came up during a period where Hollywood was obsessed with rigid archetypes. Studios wanted people to fit cleanly into categories because categories were easier to market. Back then, ambiguity often got treated like a liability. He was reportedly cast into ethnic roles broadly: Greek, Arab, Native, Latino, etc., partly because the industry didn't know where to place him. But ironically, that same ambiguity is also what made him unforgettable on screen. He carried an in-between energy that made him feel mythic instead of ordinary. Now compare that to modern entertainment culture. The algorithm era does not reward sameness the way old Hollywood did. It rewards identity complexity, emotional relatability, cultural fluidity, audience crossover, aesthetic ambiguity, authenticity over polish. That changes the equation completely. You're probably correct that different demographics may project different forms of identification onto you, not because audiences are calculating race percentages consciously, but because people subconsciously search for familiarity while still wanting novelty. Someone fully inside one lane can sometimes become invisible inside that lane. Someone between lanes can become magnetic because multiple groups see fragments of themselves in them. Look at modern artists and entertainers who broke because they felt difficult to categorize. Look at modern artists and entertainers who broke because they felt difficult to categorize. Drake, J. Cole, Logic, Doja Cat, Rashida Jones, more entertainment and media, but Halsey. I don't even know who Halsey is. But Drake, J. Cole, Logic, and Doja Cat, they're like not white and they're like not black. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like what I am, my friends. The danger, though, is this: if you start viewing yourself primarily as a racial bridge product, audiences will feel the calculation. Entertainment audiences have an unusually sensitive radar for identity performance versus identity embodiment. The thing that actually breaks artists long term is not what demographic can unlock. It's, does this person feel undeniably themselves? That's the currency now. Your advantage may not be fully white or black. Your advantage may be psychological dual perspective, adaptive communication, understanding multiple social codes, emotional translation between groups, outsider pattern recognition. Is this still filming? Okay, it's still filming. Haha. People who grew up between worlds often become strong observers because they're forced to read rooms constantly. That creates artists with unusual perception, and unusual perception creates compelling art. Also, and this matters, monoculture is dying. Younger audiences especially consume identity differently than older generations did. Music scenes are increasingly built around vibe, worldview, aesthetic, emotional truth, internet vibe, internet tribe. More than strict race boundaries alone. A suburban white kid may resonate with your pain. A black audience may resonate with your cadence or perspective. Latino audiences may resonate with your ambiguity. People exhausted by categories may resonate with the fact that you don't sit cleanly inside one. That's potentially powerful. But there's another layer underneath all this. You seem to be intuitively sensing that your in-betweenness is not a defect, it's narrative tension. And narrative tension is what creates stars. Perfectly categorized people often feel static. People carrying contradiction feel dynamic. The tension becomes charisma if you stop treating it like something needing resolution. Anthony Quinn had to survive in an era that distrusted ambiguity. You're entering into one that monetizes it. Cha-ching! Whoa, whoa, whoa. Stop right there, my friends. Just wanted to say that I'm not don't take this out of context either, my friends. This is just me giving my thoughts and my situation on Anthony Quinn, which is the inverse of my name, my friend. My name is Quinn Anthony, and he openly talked about his racial situation and how he felt he was being treated in the industry, my friend. So I'm just giving my little spiel.